This is Georgia Living Podcast. I'm Céline Evans.
And I'm Chris Evans.
There you go. And we match. Look at this.
We do.
We're green
rocking
today.
Green, yep.
Moss green.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny how that happens, you know?
Well, it's the first 45-degree day. I felt like I had to bring out the Cape Cod hoodie from our trip earlier this year.
Are we online too?
Yeah, we're online.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we always live stream this in front of our agents as part of our sales process here at Select Realty. So we want to talk about the community so our agents know what's going on. And we always talk a little bit of real estate, so there'll be a little bit of shop that we talk here today as well.
I mean, it's our job, so yeah. That's
totally
what we do
is.
every day.
So, Céline, what's going on this week?
This week, oh my gosh, it's getting colder.
It is.
It's finally getting colder. Like I said, we have 4 seasons in Georgia, but there's like fake fall too, fake spring. Have we ever talked about that?
There's if you're talking about the fake seasons, there's like 37 seasons in Georgia because of how many times it gets going in one direction and then pulls back.
Always. So it's called fake spring, fake fall, and it will trip you up. I don't think. No, this might be a fake fall, huh?
This is definitely a fake fall because we have below average temperatures this week, and then next week we got a warm front moving in, so we're going to have temperatures back up into the upper 70s and 80s. So definitely enjoy it while it's here because it's not here to stay just yet. If you've got allergies, I hate that you're dealing with that right now in the fall. It's been rough.
So many antihistamines on board right now, and I'm still sneezing and sniffling. So, every fall, ragweed.
Other than just the changing of the season, which always gets me, like I am giddy as a schoolgirl when it comes to the seasons changing.
You like soups?
I do. It's soup season. It's chili season. I've been trying, but missing the Publix wild rice and chicken soup. I've stopped off at like Publix twice or 3 times now, and I keep missing the day that they have that.
I'm so thankful that we have Publix here because we have in our area, which is East Cobb, we have Lidl. We used to have Fresh Market. We don't have that anymore. We have Whole Foods. We have Kroger, of course, and Publix.
Not only that, we have 3 Krogers. We have 5 Publix. We have the Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Sprouts.
Sprouts.
Then we have all Lidl, and we have Whole Foods.
Right.
Yeah, it is. We are living in the mecca of grocery stores for Cobb County. If you're in East Cobb, if you live anywhere inside the giant square that is Roswell Road, Johnson Ferry, Shallowford, and Sandy Springs.
It's like a
Sandy
big
Plains.
residential island where we are.
Yeah, you're surrounded by like 12 or 15 grocery stores. It's something ridiculous.
We don't have an Aldi.
I think we do.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
It's off of Roswell Road, Eastlake area.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot about the Walmart. They're closing the neighborhood market, but we still have the Walmart as well, which is on Johnson Ferry.
Oh, and then the Super Target, which
they sell food too. Yeah. No shortage of places to get your grocery fix on here.
No, never.
But what Cobb County is having a little bit of a weird week this week with the school system. Starting yesterday on Columbus Day, now we're dealing with a week of half days and virtual and in-person teacher conferences. Céline, how are we not pulling our hair out? We're like 2 days in, and
so this is something that we didn't have when we were in school.
Now they were teacher work days.
They were teacher work days, but now they're asynchronous days and then early release days after that. So our 5th grader didn't even come home with homework. He didn't do anything yesterday.
Well, he has a packet.
Oh my gosh, these allergies.
he usually has a packet for the week.
He didn't have a packet. No?
I have a feeling he might have just left it in his desk. That's probably not on the school system. That's most likely our son.
Well, that aside, it is basically we have parent-teacher conferences, and you went to the school yesterday.
I did. I showed up 15 minutes early for a parent-teacher conference and surprised the heck out of the folks at the front desk because apparently with it being Columbus Day,
Indigenous Peoples Day.
And Indigenous Peoples Day, yep. They did not understand why I was there.
No, and we didn't know that nobody was allowed to be there in person because I only thought
Federal
that
holiday.
one of the two were virtual.
They were both virtual yesterday, and then today we get one that's in person. So get to go this afternoon and
But
see
they
how
only
the
have school
third.
for half a day.
Yeah, all week. All week it's half a day. Teachers are going to be doing conferences all week.
I don't know how I feel about that. You can't really get much done when they're home that early.
You know, I was reading a post on Reddit just for thinking about all of the parents that are dealing with this week. I was looking for some
It's
tips.
more than just us, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was looking for tips and maybe some great ideas that we could share with the audience and put it out there to be like, hey, if you're feeling stressed and your kids are at home and you don't know what to do and you're feeling like pulling your hair out, I was looking for some great tips to share. Do you know what? I couldn't find a single one. All I found were people complaining about how the school day messes with their PTO annually. I came across one post where a guy was talking about figuring out his annual leave and planning a couple of trips and vacations, but then averaging out all the days that the kids are not in school, excluding the summer.
Yeah.
Where he or his wife would have to take a day off to take care of the kids. And we're fortunate because we're self-employed. But even when we have to take those days off, those are days that we can't work and we can't earn money. So it's kind of like a furlough day. I couldn't find it. Just lots of complaining about that. So if you're a parent out there, just know you're not alone. We all hate it.
No, actually, last night after the asynchronous day, Chris, you were at our parish council meeting.
Yeah.
And we go to St. Anne off of Roswell Road. It's a La Salette Catholic church there. You're on the parish council. You came home and then you found me meditating.
I open the garage, and the moment I open the garage door, I hear music playing inside the house. And I'm like, oh, they're having a dance party. So I come in, and I'm taking my time. I get upstairs, and I see my littlest. And I look at Claire, and I'm like, where's your mom? I check the bed, and I'm looking in the bedroom. I'm looking in the office. Don't see anybody. I go upstairs, check the girls' room. No one's in there. Girls are fighting, of course. And I go into my son's room. Céline is overseeing him cleaning.
Well, because if I don't stare at him, he won't move.
Do it, no.
Yeah.
And she is just sitting in a meditative position with her eyes closed and the world melting around her. Music was not for a dance party. It was to cover up the sound of them screaming.
Which our bird really didn't like, by the way, because the speaker was right by him.
Yeah.
And you know how loud he is. He's a macaw. He was screaming at me to stop it, but I couldn't. It was too loud. Anyways, that's what asynchronous day is in Cobb County.
It is the former teacher work day. Now asynchronous. Both teachers and students are working just from different locations. Hence the name asynchronous. So if you're having a little difficulty or you're just stressed out to the max right now, just know you're not alone. Mm-hmm. We're all kind of in this together, and whatever happens, the kids are going to grow up. So hopefully you survive this and you get to enjoy a little bit of some nice weather this week to keep you sane. Mm-hmm. So we've got some upcoming events here in Cobb County. It is October 15th today as we're recording this. And so within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have lots of ghouls and goblins walking the streets. And if you're thinking about finding some things that you can do this October to get into the season, well, we've got some good stuff happening here. Kennesaw is putting on Life in the Cemetery. This event takes place at Kennesaw City Cemetery, which is 3000 Cemetery Street. It's a fitting venue for a historical deep dive, given the cemetery has seen the area's transformation from its days as big shanty during the Civil War to the modern city it is today. The tour covers a variety of surfaces from dirt and gravel paths to grassy hills, so wear some sturdy shoes. This will take place, it's put on by the Kennesaw Cemetery Preservation Foundation, taking place October 25th, 26th, and 27th. You can get your tickets online. We will post a link to that in the show notes. This is Kennesaw City Cemetery, 3000 Cemetery Street, Kennesaw, Georgia, 30144. And for more information, you can contact the Kennesaw Cemetery Preservation Commission at 470-546-2118. Acworth is hosting its Safe-O-Ween. This is put on by the Acworth Police Department.
Safe-O-Ween.
Safe-O-Ween.
They really stretched that one.
Yeah. Not sure where they came up with the name for that, but not exactly the most marketable. But this is a spooktacular time at the annual Safe-O-Ween event approaches on October 31st. The Acworth Police Department welcomes families and elementary-aged children under 12 to join in an afternoon filled with costumes, Halloween delights, and free candy. The police department eagerly anticipates welcoming you and your family to a Halloween celebration like no other. The date here is October 31st from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Acworth Police Department, 4440 Acworth Industrial Drive, Northwest.
Fun. When do you think the cutoff is for Halloween?
Age?
What age? Yeah.
Oh.
I'd say 12.
I'd say 14, 15.
Really?
You got, yeah, maybe even 16, but you're out there not so much doing the trick-or-treating as you are just kind of dressing up, having fun with friends, and maybe getting into a little trouble. But I'm not going to go into my past. Scarecrows on Main is happening throughout October in downtown Woodstock, so if you haven't already, get out, check out some of the local artwork. I know our buddy Shane with the Town Plumber, they've got their Scarecrow out there, so he's a good friend of mine all the way back from high school days.
So what's the process in getting a Scarecrow? So what are these Scarecrows anyways?
Boy.
I think they're advertising, right?
Yeah, Shane was telling me about this. The Scarecrows event, a lot of businesses and organizations do it in Woodstock. It's a big deal. They only have certain amount of space that they can do it. So these people get up at the crack of dawn and they wait in a line in downtown Woodstock to get their packet for submitting their Scarecrow.
Wow.
And then they work really hard on it. They put together all sorts of great themes, and then it's on display for the whole month. Now, there is a contest. I don't know how the voting works, but the top 3 Scarecrows receive a People's Choice Award. There is monetary prizes for the winners, and I think the most important thing here is that the Scarecrow with the most votes gets the top prize, but most importantly, the bragging rights. So go and check out all of the Scarecrows in downtown Woodstock. You can find... this one is Kennesaw. Kennesaw is downtown. Kennesaw is doing their Scarecrow event along with Woodstock. So check them all out.
So it's growing.
Yeah, these events are going. I know Marietta Square just last weekend had their Chalktoberfest. There's lots of Scarecrows on the square going on right now.
All these events are growing
so
a lot.
Wherever you are, there is an event at your local downtown in Cobb County where you can go and check out your local businesses, see what they're doing, and just enjoy the season.
We're really fortunate to have all that around us. We have so many little communities like Woodstock, Roswell, downtown Marietta that we're able to go and have this great Americana experience. Like Halloween, every season there's something, and they really make an effort, I think, which I appreciate.
Oh, yeah. I think, I say it all the time. We're building our own little Mayberry here in East Cobb. It's wonderful. We got lots of great community events. Our kids can ride their bike to their grandmother's house back roads without any stop signs. We hear the football stadium at game nights. Pope just had their homecoming last week. Go Greyhounds. And it's just a wonderful place to be. And another thing that is going on in Kennesaw this week is Tales from the Rails, or not this week. It is, the next one is on the 19th. This is at the Southern Museum of Locomotive History in downtown Kennesaw.
That is one of my favorite museums. I love it. It's all the way from birth until death, really. I mean, you've got something for everybody there. There's this little kid section that 1-year-olds can go and play on. It's hands-on, so they don't mind you touching things like blocks and, block railroads that you can create and make little paths for those block.
They have the little telegraph where you can kind of send a friend over to the other end of the room.
The history of locomotives. And the number one thing that's there that I love, what do you think it is?
Oh, I gotta guess it's not the train simulator, but I'm gonna go with the actual train, the General.
Yeah, the General. Do you remember the story of that?
I do. Mm-hmm. And
it's a very famous story.
Funny enough, I think it was at Daresville. They have a celebration of the Great Locomotive Chase. If you want to know a little bit about our local history, there is an old Disney movie called The Great Locomotive Chase, which actually took place here from Marietta to Big Shanty, which is now Kennesaw.
Now, this is old. We're not talking about Freaky Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis.
No,
old.
this is like 1940s, 1950s Disney movies.
Mickey Mouse that doesn't look like Mickey Mouse old.
This is the old Disney movie.
Yes.
But this is during the Civil War. There was a locomotive chase. Some Union soldiers stole a train to head north, and they were chased down. Mm-hmm. So if you want to learn more about that, the whole history is you can learn here at the Southern Museum of Locomotive History. It's, again, downtown Kennesaw. When our kids were young, we lived right down the street in Acworth, and we would buy annual passes because
they're very affordable too.
Very affordable, and there's so many interactive things to do. They have great events.
The one thing that I really appreciate when I was a mother of very small children, I'm talking about 3 years and under, air conditioning in Georgia.
Oh, yeah. In the summer.
Oh, my gosh. So we have some heat waves that are getting worse just across the country.
Everybody's getting worse. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we can go above 100 degrees quite easily in the summer. And so finding places that are indoors in Georgia to play is very sought after, very, looked for. That's the same thing as sought after. But I'm just saying that we love air conditioning here.
And doing it
much
for under $100 for a family is hard to find.
Yes.
You can do the zoo, and you can do
Fernbank, Center for Puppetry Arts, but
the aquarium.
This is really close to us.
Yeah, and you can. It's a great place to take kids. They have tons of events. Speaking of Acworth, coming up on the 19th here, Saturday the 19th, from 3 to 7 at Logan Farm Park, which is at 4405 Cherokee Street. Acworth is having its Halloween Jamboree. I like that better than Safe-O-Ween. Jamboree is put on by the Acworth Parks and Recreation Department. And this used to be called the Halloween Carnival. This is going to be in the large field in front of the playground. It takes place from 3 to 7 and features carnival games, food, and drinks for sale, as well as a free hayride and costume contest. There will be carnival games of all different skill levels for children, along with inflatables. Carnival game tickets can be purchased for a fee, and tickets can be purchased throughout the event.
Fun.
Absolutely. More information on this can be found at acworthparksandrecreation.org. And the last event that's coming up right now is the 2024 Harvest Fest and Scarecrows in the Square. This is happening Saturday, October 19th from 9 to 5, and this is at Marietta Square. The event includes a Harvest Fest market featuring a wide variety of unique handmade items from a local artist and craftsman, as well as fall fun for the entire family. Harvest Fest Festival also includes Halloween happenings, Kids Festival, Touch-a-Truck, costume contest, pie eating contest, a college football watch area. Why can't every event have that? And Scarecrows on the Square. So this is going to take place, let's see, we got a lot happening here. The Harvest Fest Market and Halloween Happenings Kids Festival is from 9 to 5. Touch-a-Truck is going to be from 10 to 2. The Pie Eating Contest is at 11:30 a.m. for kids age 6 to 12 and at noon for 13 and older. The Costume Contest is from 2 to 3. Contestants need to be there by 1:30. The farmers market is from 9 a.m. to noon, and the college football watch area is where you'll find me if we end up stopping by here. So, lots of great events happening in and around Cobb County. It's just a great place to live, and we're happy that we get to share some of these events with you. So, switching gears a little bit, Céline, you wanted to talk about a few things that our audience can be paying attention to this fall if they're in the market or planning to be.
Oh, so we're going to real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. That was an abrupt change.
Well, I mean, we just finished, so.
Well, I thought we were going to talk about the barbecue that we went to.
Oh, we do. Oh, look at me getting all out of order.
Right. So we went to the Red, White, and Blue barbecue. That was for veterans in Canton, Georgia, and that was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
And I was there with my chapter for DAR, and we were recruiting veterans who have either served, are in uniform or not, or people who knew of deceased veterans, and they would fill out their name on a dog tag that's color-coded, either red, white, or blue. And then we're making a giant dog tag flag that's going to be displayed at Schweitzer Library. They're going to be maintaining it, and it's got people from all the way from the Revolutionary War until today who are serving. So it's a very nice representation of our community, our relatives, our friends who come together to make a beautiful flag display. And I can't wait for it to be finished. We're about 1/3 of the way through, I want to say. It's a lot of dog tags.
It is.
A lot.
Actually, I got a couple more I need to add on to there.
Yep. Grandparents, etc. So anyone, even friends. And then barbecue. I am pretty much a pescatarian now because of my rare blood disorder, apparently. But you can eat meat. So how was the barbecue?
Barbecue was delicious. We got there. It was a fairly small festival, but there was a lot of barbecue and a lot of RV, tons of competitors. I think this event, didn't somebody say there was like a $12,000 grand prize to the contestant winner?
And somebody from Food Network was there as well. And so I was very impressed. Like I said, a lot of veterans showed up there. There's a lot of resources for veterans as well. And I think that it was on one of those veterans.
It was at the American Legion Field.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and the funds raised were going to support veteran causes.
Yeah, so naturally there are a lot of veterans there, yeah. But there are other people there as well, and it was dog friendly.
But it was so much barbecue. It was delicious.
What did you order? It was like the entire styrofoam thing.
Okay, so this is admittedly my first barbecue competition that I've ever been to as, anything. I've never competed. Well, I competed at our office one, but
you did. You won our brisket competition at the office.
But this is the first time I've ever gone to an actual festival. Didn't know what to expect. Showed up, went into the line, grabbed a beer, and they had a ton of food. So you could either order a whole brisket, a 4 to 6 pound brisket, fully cooked, but They weren't doing briskets. They were doing butts.
Yes, they had signs for butt pickups.
Yes. So those, I think, were about $40 to get a whole butt done. And I got a plate. It was like $12 or $14. It was a half rack of ribs.
It was so big.
Slaw, beans, just a ton of food. I mean, for $14, it must have been 5 pounds of food.
I ate the coleslaw. That was really good.
Coleslaw was good.
And beans were good, too.
I saved a few ribs to bring home to the kids. They didn't eat it, so guess what was breakfast this morning?
They didn't eat it?
No.
Did you offer it to them?
I did. And then I offered it to James, and he was like, yes. His eyes lit up, and then he said, I'm not in the mood.
Okay.
And then I said, well, eat it later. And now it's been in the fridge for 3 days, so Dad took it.
Yeah.
That was breakfast.
I don't blame you.
It was delicious, and everything went to a great cause. And Georgia won. So that ended up helping because, it's hard to be out on a Saturday in the South unless you're following your team, right?
Oh, yeah. So anybody moving here, just a big pointer. Do not schedule anything on football days. Don't.
Funny enough.
No weddings. No get-togethers. Don't do it. People aren't going to show up.
No, they're not. But funny enough, at our council meeting last night, we're talking about attendance in church. And there's notably a dip in attendance during the Saturday services during the time that George is playing.
Oh, funny.
Of course, I made the comment that we see steady numbers when Georgia Tech is playing. Like, that doesn't impact.
Do we?
I don't know. I was just, kind of messing with the Georgia Tech fans.
Are there any?
Yeah. I mean, in Metro
Really?
Atlanta, there's a ton of them around here.
It's mostly Georgia Bulldogs.
That's because the Georgia Tech people don't root for football, mostly. They do when they have a winning team, but it's been a few years.
They're okay.
They have, hey, you know what? They beat FSU this year.
Good for them.
Yeah. They sure did. All right. Now, are we ready to switch our gears over to real estate?
Yeah. So,
all right.
So we're going into winter, and that means expectations of winter. We actually, like I've been saying, we have seasons here. Even though we have fake springs and fake falls, it does go into fall. It does go into spring, and now we're going into winter.
I think our real estate seasons are more
slightly off,
accurate
aren't they?
and more defined than our weather seasons here.
They might be.
But they still have their little nuances right now.
They do. So in real estate, the season is turning to winter. Fall, winter-ish. It kind of blends together, right? And so naturally, we have a decline in the market. However, this year, it's a little different. We have the rate cut that happened last month. It was 50 basis points. And I'm not so sure what's going to happen in the future because we had some CPI numbers come out that were shocking. And then we've had jobs reports come out as well since then. There have been minutes that came out that said that some of the Fed officials were against the 50 basis points. They wanted 25 instead. So there's a lot of information that has come out since the last decision for the rate cut that is making a lot of people question what's going to happen in the future. They've been very data dependent, the Fed has, and because of that, people do put a lot of weight onto these reports that come out, even though they're revised quite often afterwards. I think a lot of people do pay attention to the revised numbers, but they really pay attention to the initial numbers. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah. So the challenge with following this stuff is trying to look through the numbers and determine where we're being lied to.
Well, seeing past all the media, seeing past all of the banter,
yeah.
What exactly is going on here? What do you think is going to happen in our community?
Exactly. Well,
because a lot of times it's nationwide.
The numbers that come out don't always match up with the consumer sentiment, and what we see, like what happens on Wall Street doesn't always match up with Main Street. We got some great numbers in 2 months ago on inflation, which meant that last month we got the rate cut. I was right on target with where the street was estimating. It was higher than what I had planned for. The last month now, our current data, our jobs report beat estimates by about 100,000 jobs. Mm-hmm. And this is after we just had a couple of months ago news that the jobs from the prior year were revised downward 860,000 jobs.
That's a big deal.
So
yeah,
there are certain metrics that we need to be paying attention to in what's happening for the economy. But I don't know how this stuff is. I'm starting to get a sense that when we're revising down by 1 million, our metrics are not exactly accurate, at least on the job side.
Yeah.
Our CPI numbers are getting better. Our local economy is doing great. The challenge here is, how does this translate for consumers, and how can consumers plan to make smart decisions around their real estate assets?
Yep. Well, seasonally, if we didn't have all this noise going on, it would be a cycle.
Yes.
So if we didn't have the rate situation going on, it would be people are settling down for holidays during the winter time. They're thinking about travel. Their schedules are, quite frankly, booked up because they have all the kids stuff, they have the family stuff, they have some special events that they might want to go to that's seasonal as well. And so it's just not a very convenient time for people to move. And a lot of people don't move for jobs during the winter either, because they do the same with jobs. They slow down, they start, when does earnings season start? I think it already started.
Oh, earnings season started in August.
Okay, well, then that doesn't matter. But you've got company Christmas parties. Everything, links together, and it's just not a great time for people to move.
Yeah.
And so traditionally, they don't. However, we didn't see that during one period in the recent history. And do you know what that is?
Coming out of the recession. Actually,
even more recent than that.
There's actually been a few years where we still have the cycle.
Yes.
But
is it as pronounced?
Exactly. It's more of a flattened curve.
Right.
So in years
what I
past,
was trying to say is that during the pandemic, remember those years where the rates were very, very low, we did not see as much of a cyclic seasonality
and
with
21.
We just went straight through the winter, just like it was no change whatsoever. So, do you think it's going to happen this year?
I think this year we're probably going to see more buyers in the winter than we've seen in last year. But it's probably going to be similar to the same number of buyers that we saw throughout much of the summer. So I have a feeling that we're going to have hit our high for our median sales price, and then we'll dip through the winter, but it's going to kind of flatten out probably around November. And our November through January numbers are going to be more similar this year than we've seen in years past.
Similar to?
Each other. So normally what we do in real estate is our seasonal highs for sales prices are going to hit in May and June. So if you're listing your property in early April...
Yeah, that makes sense because of the school system.
Yeah. You're going to get the highest sales price for your property May and June. These are buyers that are going to move during the summer. They want to have everything secured. They're going to pay. They're going to be done. They're going to get the house they want.
So when you say May, that means listed in May
no,
or the month
it's closing
before?
In May.
Closing
the data shows for closed properties. The highest price is going to be May and June, and then that's going to slowly start to decline decline.
That makes sense
And
because close and then you move.
Yeah. And that curve is going to decline slowly at first through August, and then it's going to increase in its rate of decline from August down towards January. January is going to be our seasonal low. Think about it. The homes that close in January went under contract in December. So these are year-end sales that we're trying to get in before the tax break that ended up getting pushed and not closing in time. Mm-hmm. These are, relocations, people having to move around the holidays. It's never a convenient time, but they can usually get a good deal doing it.
But that does, you just pointed that out. It's actually not a bad time to buy either because there are a lot of quirks in the winter season that we don't see in the other seasons. And that has a lot to do with taxes.
Oh yeah,
a lot to do with taxes, people's taxes.
We've previously picked up some great investments in December.
We have.
Yeah, I mean
we really have, and so because the prices are on the downward decline, sellers are a little bit more willing to give more and to negotiate a little bit easier during these months. There's also the tax situation. So when you sell your house, makes a big difference in when you pay your taxes, right? So if you buy a house at the very end of the year, what happens, Mr. Finance Major?
Well, if you're buying the house, you get the benefits of that purchase for whatever your tax situation is in the year that you bought that house. So if you're looking to invest and you make a purchase of a real estate asset before the end of the year, then that goes to offset the income that you've used. If that is the strategy that you're taking, and if that is an actual thing that you can do, right? You always want to talk with your CPA when you're dealing with taxes. But always. Sometimes CPAs will say, hey, go buy some real estate before December 31st. In which case, I've had attorneys do closings on December 31st for me. And it's been very beneficial. We've had two really good ones that we did like that. We bought some land in South Alabama.
Yes.
And we bought some land on our mountain, and we held on to those for a couple of years, and then sold them. And the profit that we used on that went to renovate one of the homes in Alaska.
However, so I know that those two were land. We went through a little bit of a land frenzy stage. Yeah. It is no longer here. We don't have the land frenzy now. So would I recommend land now? No, it's traditionally not as good of an investment as a house.
There's less to appreciate.
Right. Yeah. So we did that because it was a thing then. Yeah. And people had that need. They wanted the land. Think about all the people who were moving out of Metro Atlanta, who were building B&Bs, Airbnbs, other places. They were looking for land. Maybe they all popped down a tiny home because tiny homes were still in then. Are they still in now? I don't hear as much about them.
I mean, there's always people trying to do stuff, but
yes.
The financing went up and it became more expensive to build, and a lot of people just left.
Yes, and then a lot of those people who wanted to do tiny homes, they didn't do enough research, and then they get into a pickle where they have a container that they bought for $3,000, $5,000, and then they paid to have it moved up onto a very, sloped lot. And then now it's stuck because they didn't do enough research as to what they can do with that land. So be very careful.
If you're thinking about building a unique investment, whether that be your dream container home or tiny home, you got to understand the regulations about where you want to do that. Because we've seen a couple of times now in Gilmer County, people have brought up their containers with these wild aspirations, only to find out that they can't get power to their lot until there's a permanent foundation, and they're not going to get a permanent foundation approved with the plans for a storage container home because they're prohibited within the county.
Right.
So you got to know what you can and can't do before you decide to spend money on land.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
we didn't do anything with the land. We just sold it.
Yeah.
We didn't touch it.
Well, we had plans to potentially do it at one point in the future, but we then got different opportunities and Alaska was calling. So we moved some of our assets up to Alaska and sold the land, and that funded the renovation of the Ptarmigan. Mm-hmm. So going into this winter, we're thinking that these rates are bringing buyers out. We've definitely seen an uptick.
In the rates?
In the number of buyers.
Oh, the rates went up too.
They've gone up since.
Yes.
The most recent numbers, I think, were coming around the 6% mark. But we were down into the 5s for a little bit.
And I've been reading some articles where they speculate, because they're not the Fed, they speculate that this is about as low as it's going to go this year.
Yeah. Well, the year's almost over.
Well, yeah. But this year, right? We still have a couple of months left.
We got to get through this election.
Yes. And early voting started today.
Yeah.
So in Georgia, if you're here, go out and vote.
Make it count. Let's see. So if you're thinking about selling, there's a couple of tips. I was out actually touring in LJ yesterday. We looked at 2 homes, and one of them was gorgeous. So when we pulled up to this house, it's on the river in a mountain.
Are there fish?
Oh, yeah. There's a sandbar.
Oh.
There's a dock. You could throw on a pair of wading boots, hip boots, and just walk out and fish there.
We're so lucky to have those places here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The things that they did great at this first house is when we walked in, everything felt so warm and cozy, right? This is a mountain house. So it was soft lighting. It wasn't that crisp, bright white. It was warm colors throughout. It felt like you want a cup of coffee and a nice book, that kind of a place.
Did it have the traditional Georgia, like gravel driveway? The dirt roads going up, or
it
what
was
kind
paved.
Was this? It was. Wow, I'm surprised.
Well, the challenge with this client is that the road is why we're not making an offer.
Oh, right.
Because some of these roads, like if it's a 1-car road for most of it. Mm-hmm. She's a little older. That kind of makes her nervous.
Gotcha.
So,
however, we live in Georgia, so we are at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Mm-hmm. Keep that in mind. I mean, a lot of people who move from outside of Georgia, they're always asking, this is the funniest thing. They go, I'm looking for a land lot. I want it flat, and I want it pretty square. And I'm like, all right, have you looked at a map?
If you want flat, you go south of Atlanta. If you want hilly, you go north of Atlanta. I mean, we have I-16 is like our dividing line. We call it the Nat line.
Yes.
So if you go south of I-16, that used to be underwater hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years ago.
So you can go to Hayhira, you can go to Albany.
You can go to Macon, you can go to Savannah, anywhere down south, you're going to get flat land. You want flat, you don't come up north. Up north, you're going to get hilly. You're going to get kind of lakes. You'll get it's the foothills of the Appalachians. Mm-hmm. It is
think about what it is.
Rolling hills.
Yeah.
The whole time. So great place to train if you're an athlete, because then you can travel to other parts of the U.S. where it's flat and just dominate the competition. But other than that, it's not flat. And these were single lane roads, so that kind of terrified her. Both gated communities. Now, this first house, mm-hmm. everything was in place. Lights were on to set the mood when you walk in. There was music playing. Everything was in its place. It was meticulous. Mm-hmm. Second house we went to, we pulled up, and there were 3 lawnmowers in the driveway. Or not in the driveway, but like right off to the side of the driveway.
Like push lawnmowers?
No, like riding lawnmowers.
Maybe it's recreation.
I don't know. But then it was... there was a lot of... You could tell there were animals. There were cats everywhere outside. There was a doggy restroom area to one side of the garage that, prevented me from going around back behind that building to see what the lot was like. The house itself was great. The layout was spectacular. It was an awesome gated community. It had the two-car wide streets, so no issues there. It had views, but it had animal smell. The upstairs carpet had tears, and it was loose and bunching up in areas. It needed to be replaced. The downstairs hardwoods had wear around the door threshold, and it was that kind of early 2000s. Looks like hardwood, not really hardwood. So it's
LVT?
No, it's not a laminate. It's like an engineered product. And it looks like hardwood. It has like the divots in it, but it's not.
Well, so they're taking a different tactic, right? Because you could either sell a home finished, or you can sell a home where you can flip it, right? Pre-flip?
Well, this wasn't to the level of flip. This was just heavy lived in. But the smells and the unsightliness, going into the basement, it was like walking into a litter box.
Oh no.
If you are trying to sell a home, cat smell, dog smell, those are the worst thing. Cat smell is the worst thing that you can have.
Dog smells, you're going to have to take out the carpet because they've urinated on it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do those things. It's not as hard as cats, though, because think about the anatomy of a cat. They're going to spray, right?
Oh, yeah.
So these smells are actually soaked into the drywall, and not so much because sometimes the litter box is not tall enough. I seem really knowledgeable about this, but that's because I'm a licensed veterinarian. So I get very, particular about these things. But that said, it damages the house a little bit more because they have that anatomy that they can just spray onto it. So, and their urine is very, very concentrated. So it's difficult to get that smell out.
So difficult.
Yeah, incredibly difficult. So a lot of the times those people will have to take a financial hit because they have to get all of that smell out one way or another, right? Because who wants to live with that? Nobody.
There's 2 ways to look at this. Generally, if you are going to sell the house in that condition with the smell, your financial hit is going to be larger than the cost of repairing it.
It's a convenience factor.
Yeah. You're basically saying you're wiping your hands of the house and you're walking away and letting it become somebody else's problem. Now, if you're going to fix the smells correctly, here's the way you do it. You don't just replace the flooring. You pull it all out. You're pulling the carpet out. You're pulling the subfloor, or you're pulling the carpet pad out.
It's all in there.
And you're exposing the subfloor. Now, if you have cats, you're going to be replacing some drywall around where they use the restroom as well, because as Céline mentioned, they're going to spray. So they're not going straight down. They're going out. So you're probably going to be replacing the bottom 18 or 24 inches of drywall in whatever rooms that they were in. Once you've removed and disposed of all of the material, you should be left with a house that smells better, but it may or may not have been fully removed. From that point, you take a spray bottle from Home Depot, one of the pressurized sprayers. You mix in a diluted bleach solution, you spray the subfloor. You let that dry. Then you're going to take Kills, Killz. Kills.
There are two L's? I thought it was
No, it's
K-I-L-Z.
one Z. It's
Yeah.
one L. Yeah. Kilz. You're going to get some kills. You're going to roll that on the subfloor. And that's going to seal in any smells. Then you're going to put down.
Roll it meaning what?
You're going to paint it on with a roller.
It's like it comes in a paint can.
Yeah, it's like paint. And you're going to just get a roller. You're going to roll it right on that subfloor. You're going to let that dry. That is going to lock in all of the smells. It'll be gone. After the smell of the kills has dissipated, you should not smell any animal odor anymore. Once this is done, put in the new flooring, or you're going to replace the drywall, paint the walls, then you have your new flooring go in. That should get your house ready for market.
That is a lot
It's
of
a
work.
lot. It's a lot of work. This is why on the rental side, I do not allow any cats in any of our properties. If you're a renter, it's just, this is why.
I don't mind them. It's just the damage that they cost is not great for the investment that you made.
Yeah.
Period.
You own your house, have whatever animals you want. Just know that when it comes to selling your house, this is the kind of project that you may have to take on if those scents are there.
That said, smokers too.
Oh,
That's worse than cat smells, dog smells. That's in everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Smoke can go into the attic, it can go into the crawl space, it can go into the fixtures, behind the walls, into the cabinetry. Like, it is awful.
I think a lot of people, they don't smoke nowadays. And if they do it at home. So a lot of us have forgotten about how bad the smoke smell was. Or, we were used to it because we would go to... I remember smoking on, not me, but people smoking on airplanes. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that was fine. They would smoke in Hartsfield-Jackson. They would, restaurants.
You used to go to the Ruby Tuesday, there'd be a smoking section and a non-smoking section, right?
And it was all the same because it was all open.
So really, whatever you walk into, it's the smoking section. You're just a little bit further away from it.
Yeah, but houses really absorb all of this because it seems like that's where people smoke nowadays. And wow, yeah, you really gotta manage that one.
Yeah. So if you're trying to sell your house today, one is you want to make sure when somebody comes into that house that they are not going to be assaulted with violent smells.
It takes away from the house, too.
It does. I want to be looking at the property. I want to be enjoying the views. I want to be exploring and seeing what kind of features we can find. And I don't want to be thinking the whole time, being distracted about, my eyes watering because I have cat allergies or, any of these things. When we market, I said this on previous episodes, I'm sure, but when you market a home, you don't market it to yourself. You market it to the most number of buyers. Mm-hmm. So this is why, you love having that bright pink room. Great. But if it looks like if your house is a Barbie's Playhouse, that's not going to sell to many buyers.
With the caveat, a lot of people understand that kids' rooms can be a certain color. I mean, that is understandable.
One room is easy to look past.
Yes.
The whole house.
Obviously, some child's room.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
If your whole house is, primary colors, we're going to have some issues. If you put a purple house in the neighborhood and you're that house that, your neighbors are complaining on Reddit's HOA for subreddits.
Are you talking about the exterior?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You
like a turquoise. It looks great in the Bahamas, but not in East Cobb.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or you're an LSU fan and you painted the primer yellow and purple. We do understand being in the South, but this is red and black territory, so get out of here. Just kidding, LSU folks.
We don't love you. We
love your Cajun
tolerate
food.
you.
We love your Cajun food.
Boudin.
Yeah. All right, so just think these things through. I mean, it's a lot of just common sense. How would you feel if you walked into a house? You want your home to look and feel like that. And then as for pricing, look, it's a moving target for all of us at this point. We're going to run as much data that we can when we're trying to figure out that target price. But when we do, we're going to give a range. This time of year, you want to be towards the bottom half of that range.
You don't want to chase the bottom.
Yeah.
And chasing the bottom really has I guess we have to explain what chasing the bottom is. So you have a graph and you have the price, and it drops towards winter, and then it comes right back up, right? And then, so usually in a normal cycle. So chasing the bottom is still being higher than that bottom price. So even if you decrease your amount that you're asking for, you're still priced high. Is there a better way to put that?
So, well, it might be easy to explain with some actual numbers.
Okay.
In 2022, our median sales price in May was just under $400,000.
Right.
But by the time we got to January, because interest rates had hit and the market had shifted, our median sales price was like $350,000. Mm-hmm. That's a 12.5% dip in a 7-8 month time span. So if your house is listed at $400,000 in August, right? Prices weren't there anymore. They were already starting on their way down. And then you make a price drop from $400 to $370 in September, but now the prices are at $360 or $350. Mm-hmm. You wait another month, you do another drop, but that drop isn't enough because now the prices are down to $360, $358.
So you're chasing it.
So you are chasing that bottom by not pricing the house properly. You end up being on the market much longer. Your carry costs are much longer. You miss a lot of the inventory, or you end up spending more money. And it's counterintuitive because sellers think internally, oh, well, I just dropped $10,000. I should get more action. But
right.
The market has moved ahead of you and you're chasing it. I'm working with some clients right now trying to explain this because we're overpriced. Property's off the market now, and they want to relist it and make a drop, but that drop is not substantial enough. So I'm trying to work with them to get them to a price where we can sell the house, or we're going to be in a position where we don't relist until next spring to get back into that market where we're at the higher side of things. Mm-hmm. So you want to time your if you time the market in real estate, it's a lot easier to do than it is to time the market on Wall Street. Because you can't time Wall Street. There's too much data, there's too many variables. But you can time real estate to an extent because our cycles are much more stable in the long run. We're still going to have, and we still have had, declining median sales prices in Atlanta, this market. But in 2022, that was a 12.5% swing from 400 to 350. It's ballpark. It's close, but not exact. Mm-hmm. And then the year after, it was only a 6% swing. And in most years, we get a 4.5 to a 6.5% swing. So it's not huge.
Average of 5%.
Yeah, I would say it's average like around the 6. Mm-hmm. And this year, because of the interest rates coming down, we might find ourselves in that 4% swing. So it might not be as low or as pronounced this year because of the changes that have happened and the time of year it's happened. Next year, we're probably going to be more in a regular market where we see, a 6% swing from our peak to our valley from next May, June to next December, January. And that's kind of where we are. It's normal to expect. And if you time your house to hit the market in April, May, if you price it right, you should be hitting at the high end of that year. If you overprice it and you lower throughout the summer, guess what? You're actually chasing the bottom. So you don't want to do that. In this market, we have pockets of Atlanta that are buyers markets. We have pockets of Atlanta that are sellers markets. Every community is different. There is not anything that's uniform. East Cobb is a seller's market, especially if you're under 600,000.
A lot of our new constructions are 900s, 1 million plus, and so a lot of the resales are very sought after.
Yeah.
Especially ranches here.
Yeah, you can, in East Cobb now, when we moved in, you can get into East Cobb for about 260, 270,000. Actually, 240 if you went contemporary.
Oh, yeah.
225 to 250 for a contemporary. Traditional house started around 275.
We have a lot of contemporaries because this area was built in the 70s.
A lot of it was.
So the majority of East Cobb.
Yep.
So we have a lot of that architecture here still.
So then now you're getting in at 450 to 500 for a property that needs quite a bit of work. Yeah. It's structurally solid at that price. You can get in, you can live in it, but it's not updated. You're going to be buying a maintained older home.
Now this happened in Brookhaven as well.
Yeah. Brookhaven, when they got their cityhood, everything got redeveloped there. And East Cobb did attempt for cityhood. They didn't get it last time. I can guarantee you it's not going to be the last time that you see that on the ballot. So we'll probably have that come up again in a few more years. But that's kind of where we are for this winter, kind of going into winter. We got a lot of fall festivities happening now, lots of activities, great time to be active in the community. And with real estate, we're actively working with buyers and sellers in this market. We just put a property under contract. We're going to be closing on one at the end of this month. We're working with buyers, and we may have a portfolio coming up for sale in late 2024 or early 2025. So if you're an investor, just know that we can help with that as well. If you got multiple properties, you're a boomer trying to sell it all and go to the beach now because things are getting too much for you, just let us know. You can give us a call here at Select Realty. Céline and I would love to help you on that. But as for this week, I think that concludes our episode.
That's it. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day.
See y'all next week.
Bye.